You say attraction is something Mother Nature takes care of, but yet you don't support the idea of hypergamy, which is rooted in instincts and evolutionary behavior. I think you're contradicting yourself by doing this.
Well, so what is hypergamy? Hypergamy, the theory is that women date up. In other words, they marry outside their caste or their class. In other words, the girl from the projects who just happens to be extremely beautiful and charming is gonna want to date the millionaire and not, her next door neighbor that works at McDonald's or whatever. And so therefore, if she's dating the guy at the McDonald's, but the rich guy comes in, she's gonna run off with the rich guy and live happily ever after because of hypergamy. So the theory is, women want to date, basically they want to punch above their weight. They want to date guys that are hotter and more successful than they kind of deserve or where they came from. And so, in other words, the thesis is everybody wants to date up. So women want to date better guys than they may qualify for, or society says that they should be getting. And the same thing, every guy wants the hot, unattainable girl. The girl that every guy looks at him is like, how the hell did you pull that shit off? And so when I look at the hypergamy theory, which is really is what it is, because it's a theory from a guy who never succeeded at the highest level. He never got the hot woman that he wanted. It was only a fantasy to him, and he's really pissed off and he's bitter about it. And he desperately wants it to be true that it's not his fault that he never got the hot girl because he gave up and he settled. And as he says, it's a mediocre, boring marriage. So why would I want to learn from a guy that has a mediocre, boring marriage that he's not really proud of? And it sounds like he settled. I don't know if she had a kid, I think, from another relationship, and he became a stepdad. I can't remember. But then he tells guys that are young to basically go and do something he didn't do, which is get a vasectomy, because you don't want to knock a girl up and have her take half your shit. So just get a vasectomy and you can reattach it later. And the reality is that only works about 95% of the time. So there are probably guys that are going to listen to that. They're going to go get a vasectomy, and eventually they meet a girl and they're going to have kids, and they won't be able to get pregnant because they fucked themselves up because they listened to an incompetent retard, autistic retard who never did the things that he dreamt about doing. And so all of his books and his works and his theories is about explaining away his mediocrity and his inadequacy because he never learned game. And he settled. He didn't get the hot girl. So to me, the theory's irrelevant because I know what works and what I teach will work 100 years from now because it's innate. It doesn't have to be trained. It just simply is. So when I say attraction is not a choice, what it means is within 2 or 3 seconds, a woman looks at you and knows if she would date or sleep with you within 3 seconds. So that has nothing to do with the theory of hypergamy. But at the end of the day, I don't see hypergamy as some earth-shattering theory that everybody wants to date up. Everybody wants to feel like they got a nicer house than they deserve. They got better friends than they deserve. They got a hotter girl than they deserve. They make more money than they maybe deserve. And so that's just natural and innate in human beings. So to me, hypergamy really is just a mental circle jerk of the red pill community that doesn't really apply in the real world. Because what creates attraction is what creates attraction. That hot girl from the projects that's dating the dude that works at McDonald's, he may have goals, he may have dreams, but if he's masculine and is center and he puts her in her fucking place occasionally when she gets out of line and doesn't put up with any bullshit, and she was raised in a good family and a good strong father, even if they didn't have a lot of money, she'll follow that McDonald's guy for the rest of his life, even if the rich dude tries to rip her off. But a chick who comes from a broken home, who grew up watching mom and dad lie and cheat to each other and on their subsequent spouses and boyfriends and girlfriends, that fucking hoe ain't loyal to anybody. And so if she cheats on you, it's like all you got to do is look at her history and what her relationship with her father is like to know what's going to happen. So if you want a lifelong partner or a partner to raise kids with for several decades, you're going to have the best results with a woman who was raised in a good family. And the chick that came from the broken home, you can have a lot of fun with her, but you're not going to wife up the hoe because you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. Character is destiny. That's the bottom line. So there's no contradiction. It's just that you don't really understand what I teach. I was happy to educate you. If you got another question about that or you want me to elaborate, feel free to drop another super chat in there and we will discuss it.